it is such an honor for me to represent this award to an incredible member of our community, Dr. Chon Noriega.
I don't know who that was, but I am honored to accept this award on his behalf. I hadn't seen that before, and I wanted to stay here and watch it, and Alex said, go back there, and I actually got to watch it, but everything was backwards. I want to start by just saying, I don't know if he's still in the room, but with Moctezuma, I raised the money for Nalip that allowed us to get people hotel rooms and a real bare bones thing. He's a producer, so he raised the money that fed everybody really well during those 2 or 3 days that we had that first conference. I'm really fortunate to have had many mentors who are involved in the Chicano movement who inspired me to pursue research that makes a difference. And a number of them are actually in the room here today. And as a consequence, anything I do at the university, where I've been 26 years, must have an outcome that impacts the community. But it has to work both ways. I see the community as an equal partner, one that brings its own insights and achievements that can advance higher education. And I have to say, in accepting this award, that I am really deeply grateful for the faculty, staff, students, and community partners who have worked alongside me at the UCLA Chicano Studies Research Center. And a number of them are here as well. They really share in this acknowledgement. And I just want to point out, some of that in terms of what we've been able to do through the center. Do you know that our little center has curated more Chicano and Latino art exhibitions in the last 10 years than any mainstream art museum? It shouldn't be that way. But we've done 10 shows in the last year, and most museums, we're lucky if they've done one. Our last show that we did, which is called Home So Different, So Appealing at LACMA, has been certified as one of the most popular exhibitions in the world for 2017. Now, we work across all fields, and you saw a kind of a sampling of that in the video. Next week, we're releasing a study in Washington, D.C. that evaluates the progress made by the Smithsonian Institution since the 1994 report Willful Neglect, which exposed the absence of Latinos across the board within the Smithsonian. This is our national museum. Surprisingly, no one ever followed up on what has happened in the quarter century since this hard-hitting report was released. That you'll find out next week. And later this fall, we'll release the findings from a survey we completed of senior citizens in Orange County, measuring their attitudes towards immigrants. Some of them won't surprise you, but actually the findings will have quite a number of surprises in them. Now, I'm deeply honored and moved to be recognized by the National Hispanic Media Coalition, since they've always been my role model for how a small group of people can effectively push for needed change. I was a little shocked earlier to hear that Alex was aggressive. Then he palmed it off on someone else. But sometimes that's what's needed. But the National Hispanic Media Coalition, Alex, the other two original founders, everybody involved with it, they've really been my heroes since I was a graduate student. And so in ending, I want to kind of address the sense of what this award means to me, and I guess I'll end up doing it in my own particular style. That, we deal with some serious stuff. All of the other awardees have mentioned this. It's difficult. It is a struggle. We do not deal in microaggressions. Everything we encounter is pretty macro, right? There's nothing subtle about it. But I think with someone like Alex, what really has always struck me is how, not just how humane he is, but how so much of what he does comes from his person, from his heart, and that there's a great deal of joy in that. You don't see people crying at the picket lines or in the course of deep negotiations. One has to really enjoy what you're doing if you've made the decision to try to change things. You made that decision, enjoy it. So I want to share a little bit of my own personal experience besides what was shown on the video. I am the first person in my family to graduate from college. So a lot of what I experienced going to graduate school was really first time, and I was very fortunate to have people like Fernando de Necochea who helped me get into Stanford, and someone like Moctezuma Esparza who came out there when I taught a course on Chicano cinema, who helped me stay there. So there's a reason to stay here. You can do something as a professor. So I was so honored to get this when Alex called me that I went out and bought a new suit. Now, lest you think that I don't have suits, I will say I do. It's just that last weekend when I tried it on, I suddenly noticed for the first time in over 20 years that it had bell bottoms. I'm standing there in front of the mirror going, when did this happen? I began to be concerned that people would think I was ancient. And so I started looking for the first interview I did with Alex Nogales. This will prove I was once young. And unfortunately, all I found was the transcript. I didn't find the audio file, and the transcript was in a word processing program that no longer exists. So I came up with the idea of having a friend's son reenact the first question I asked Alex. And I just said, record this and send it to me. His son is 7 years old. And I figured that would prove, in fact, that I'm not that old person. And so I got the audio tape this morning, and I'm listening to it, and I just like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. This kid is rolling his R's when he says Nogales. And I figured, well, his dad explained we spent the summer in Oaxaca, he's Oaxacan, and that's just the way they roll, So I realized I can't really, I can't really use that, and I really have to go back to where I started, which is, thanking Alex in terms of what he said when he called. I got the call from him, and it's the case with a lot of folks that come out of the Chicano movement. When they call you, you pretty much can expect that they're going to be telling you to do something for them, in the effort of social justice. And instead, Alex told me that they wanted to give me this award. But the way he said it really struck to the heart of who he is, what the National Hispanic Media Coalition is, and all of us in the room that are pushing for social justice, who we are. He said, look, we know you're out there fighting the good fight, and we know that means you get beat up on all sides. And we just want to recognize that and hope that that helps. That moved me so much, and it made my year, as it were, to think that. And I can really only end by just saying, Alex, I'm honored to have known you over the last 30 years and to have had the chance to work with you and all of the members of the National Hispanic Media Coalition. I look forward to continuing our relationship, and I look forward to the way in which we will continue to support each other in everything we do to try to bring about change. There's a lot more work for us to do today than ever before, and an award like this really, in some ways, is quite validating to come from a group that's in the midst of all of that, and it means the world to me. Thank you.
Wow, what an incredible career. Amazing. He's done what it takes many of us to do in 2 lifetimes.
You're absolutely right, and we are very fortunate to have Chon educating us on the value of our arts indeed.
Michelle, it's been a true pleasure sharing this stage with you, and I hope it will not be the last time.
I know, I really enjoyed it too, and I feel the same way. It's been wonderful, and to our audience, it's been wonderful as well. Thank you for joining us, and drive safely.
Yes, hasta el año entrante, les deseamos buen resto del día, buenas tardes.